What is going down, everyone? It's time for Mojobreak.com, the hype. This is episode 324, and we are joined today later in the show by a very special guest. We've got Eddie from Sports Card Nonsense Breaks, and you've seen we have Gio on the show, Mike Gio. We've had Jesse. Now we have their breaker. We talk about the current breaking events, how they got started. It's a must listen, so stay tuned to the end of the show for that. This episode, we are going to talk new releases. We've got Phoenix that's coming out today, or came out today, or as you're listening to this on Thursday. So we're going to dissect that. The football market is on fire. I've got a little tidbit of some Donruss basketball I want to get your guys' opinion on, and I think we're going to get another guest appearance by another breaker on here for that, because I have another funny Instagram thing to put. And lots of stuff. We also have a brand new code for you guys to get into breaks on Mojobreak.com. So if you guys want to save some money, I would head over there. We've got all kinds of breaks happening. We're doing Stadium Club. We're very limited on Stadium Club. That came out this week as well. And I'm going to keep talking because I'd lost the page that I had the code on. So we're going to still talk more about what's coming out. Prism Basketball is on the horizon as well. We're going to start pre-selling those as well. But if you want to save $20 off of any purchase of $50 or more, use code BREAK20. So buy a $50 spot. It's now a $30 spot.
Awesome.
Very limited. Only they're flash sales, guys. So if you're listening to this, jump on there now, and there's a limit of how many coupons can be used. Now we should have a dun-dun-dun breaking news, but apparently Cody has some breaking news.
I think I didn't look at my phone. But I am gonna throw it.
Yeah,
out
I want to
there.
hear. I want to hear
I'm
what
gonna
you
throw
guys
it out
think.
there.
I'll throw it out one.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
You go
And no one.
You go.
I want to
think we're
preface
on the-
this
I think we're on
because
the same. I think we're on the same. We're thinking the same thing.
I want to preface this again. Everybody already knows
I'll
this
just tell you
news.
funny.
Don't give anything
but
away.
10 minutes ago, this broke, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait till we start rolling.
I'm just gonna be
and
funny.
nobody has checked their phone.
I looked at my phone about 5 minutes ago.
Oh, then
but
you-
I don't think but I didn't
Let's all
look at
take
it.
guesses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
Take
We're
it.
doing. Okay,
Take a
I'll go
guess.
first.
Take a stab.
The Golden State Warriors traded
Everybody.
everybody. No, not everybody. Let's say Wiggins, Dre, and Kuminga for Giannis Antetokounmpo.
All right.
Okay.
Does not like Doc.
I
Does
like
not
that.
like the new hire.
I think it has to do with NFL head coaches.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say Bill Belichick is now the
I
head
like
coach of the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
I like
and Doug.
that.
Kelsey got on a knee, and Swift is
I
married.
like that pick
Ooh.
too.
Swift, Swelsey,
Right
Swelsey.
before the
Guys,
Super Bowl.
Right before the AFC Championship
I
game,
love
yeah.
I love where everyone's head is at. I will say Dan is the closest. Breaking news. Go Bolts. Jim Harbaugh is the new coach of the Los Angeles Chargers.
Who's got it better than us?
Wow.
That's pretty trash.
Look.
I actually don't care.
I would
don't
just
care either.
like to say, who spoke this into existence? You're looking at him. I spoke
that's-
that
I'm
into
actually-
existence.
I'm
If you
act-
look back, I put up a post the moment that Staley got fired, and I said, man, wouldn't it be great if Justin Herbert had somebody playing in blue and maize
whisperer?
and be whispering in his ear, hey, man, I got you. The quarterback whisperer
I will tell you what.
back in Cali.
As a coach,
In the NFL.
it's definitely an upgrade over that last guy.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Just a little.
But as a team, they're still going to suck ass.
I'm surprised Shane didn't bust in here like the Kool-Aid man.
He will in about 25
and
minutes.
basically break the
Yeah,
news.
because he kind of like gets a kind of late.
He's
sometimes,
late
right?
breaking
Yeah,
Shane around these
I mean,
parts.
I've dubbed him late breaking Shane. So yeah, yeah, you're right. We're gonna get done with the podcast, and he's gonna be like, oh, "No way!
No, he's gonna.
No,
Did you hear what happened?"
we're probably gonna hear him outside in like about 10 minutes.
No, you know what's gonna happen? He's gonna react like that and go, "Wow, Doc Rivers is the Bucks head coach." Like, yeah, man, 24 hours ago.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, good thing.
Jim's
Yeah,
back.
Justin Herbert is a buy now in the offseason because the guy's already got the talent. He's already clearly one of the best in the league, and now he's got a coach that can take him to the promised land.
Oh God,
I don't know.
This
What do we?
is great
based on
news for Justin.
Best in the league based on what?
they're like third in the AFC West now because the Broncos are obviously gonna suck again without Russell. You know what I'm saying?
But you got Aiden
Great
O'Connell.
news.
You guys gonna get somebody in the
The
draft.
thing is
I mean,
that the Rams are probably Staley is probably going to be the Rams' new defensive coordinator because Morris is probably going to get hired from somebody. Somebody's going to hire Morris.
That's one thing he's good at, being a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much of a upgrade, like just the level of upgrade,
I mean,
pretty remarkable.
If I had a defense that had Aaron Donald and like Jalen Ramsey and all those guys,
Yeah.
I'd probably be a pretty good coordinator too.
Yeah.
I can probably drop some X's and O's if I had a bunch of all pros.
Niners are going to lose half their coaches this year too. So
Yeah,
it's like a yearly.
I mean,
Hopefully we'll get some picks out of it.
That's just a yearly tradition. It's a tradition unlike any other.
Right.
The Niners lose 3 coordinators.
No, the same thing at the Rams. Rams win 5 games, they lose coaches.
Yeah.
Like, you guys can't say that. The Sean McVay tree is ridiculous.
So I wanted to talk about new releases. So we got Stadium Club, which is near and dear to my heart, obviously. One of the things that got me in the hobby as a kid, 91 Stadium Club. But I wanted to specifically target Donruss basketball because I think what people don't really realize, and I'll let our friends over at Blaze kind of give their opinion on one of the announcements in Donruss.
Got it. Go ahead, Buzz.
Donruss basketball is for the next day autograph chase. It's always a highly collectible, highly investable card, and it's a rookie's first on-card rookie autograph. As we know, Wemby, he doesn't have autographs in Panini products, so a person at Panini that developed this product, they knew that Wemby, he needs a next day. So that's what they did. For the first time ever, Donruss is going to have non-autograph next day cards. So that's another massive chase in Donruss. That's only one of the main chases in Donruss. And whoever decided to do a next day non-autograph at Panini deserves a raise.
Another raise, huh?
He's just handing out raises every week. Somebody at Panini is just a absolute genius.
For the first time ever?
Well, out of necessity, correct?
It's not
Yeah.
the first time ever.
No,
In Donruss.
And Donruss.
Not contenders, though.
Don
Rizzi.
Right. So
RIS.
there's going to be
Yes.
basically, I'm assuming it'll either say non-autograph, it'll be blank, but there will be next day Wemby chase to Donruss, which will push that price up on those boxes.
But they've done it with contenders before.
Yeah.
So all they did was just do the same exact thing they've done with
Which
contenders.
is what we alluded to like a couple shows ago, that Panini almost needed to do this for every single product where they're missing the big rookies.
Well, right. I mean, and I'm not taking away from the brains behind Panini. They may have some Harvard guys in there. I don't know. But, I don't think that the meeting was like a whole day of trying to figure out how they're going to get the next days in there when the result was let's put next days without autographs.
Yeah.
I think that's just like...
They're like, hey, guys, we've done this before. We're contenders.
We can do
what
it
do you guys
again.
think? What do you guys think about doing it in
apparently,
Donruss?
Blez is like, this is cutting edge. This is they're reinventing the wheel here.
Reinventing the wheel, man.
Raises all around.
Hey,
there's probably people at Panini that are like, bring in Blez. We're like his style. Like, we're all gonna be making a lot more money.
Listen, I'm not gonna argue with guys at Panini's getting a raise. I'm not gonna stop you guys from getting your bag. I hope you guys all get raises that were in the design department. But yeah, it's not that big of a deal in terms of like sports news, right? I'm happy they're doing it though.
Yeah, I mean, it's a chase that's needed. Obviously, he's going to have rookie cards in there as well. But what do you think? I mean, would it go for the same price Wemby sold next day without an autograph? Does it go for the same price as it would with an autograph?
No.
No, but
Here's a little higher than a base card.
Here's the tricky thing.
100%.
Yeah.
I hope they actually stamp no autograph where the autograph is supposed to go. Because the concern with that is that if it basically looks exactly like the other ones that have a space for the autograph, you're gonna get people who are gonna forward.
True.
I'm at like 90% sure they're gonna put no auto
There's
on
gonna
there.
be people who are gonna be like, they're gonna
There
try.
it is.
There it is.
Oh, so people are already opening up Donruss. Cool.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it comes out on Friday, but
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Man,
it's
we're
no
at the
Yes.
time now where like release dates.
Yep.
It's subjective. You could, when you got it in hand, you could just rip it unless you're us.
I wish so,
Time is
yeah.
just
And
a
I was gonna say,
concept.
I wish we could open it up early.
We're held to a certain standard that we're not allowed to do that.
DB Sports Cards in Arizona with the 3 feedback. He's got it up there. Running it.
Yeah, I mean,
Base hit.
it's gonna go for more than a regular base card. It's it should be a short print. I would consider it an insert at this point, right? Anytime they're gonna do these no auto next day or no autos NT RPAs, it's gonna be considered a insert, right? It's got to be a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to see if there's one up there because there's some weird film on the back of this card that I'm going to see if they're on all the other ones.
And while you're looking at that, I got to say this goat fuel is absolutely amazing.
Let us know about this goat field, Dan.
I love it. It's actually my favorite new energy drink, and I'm going to be starting every day with it. Little goat fuel. What I'm, sucking down right now is a little gummy bear flavor.
And who owns that company, Dan? Or at least the ambassador.
I don't know.
It's the great Jerry Rice.
Oh,
The goat himself.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I mean, hey.
Hey.
Jerry Rice, no Jerry Rice.
It's great to have
it's still delicious.
It's great to have a Rams fan put a little piece of Jerry Rice in his body.
Here at the Hype, we like to charge up on a lot of energy drinks throughout the day and throughout the week. So,
let's go.
Yeah, and then anytime we're open to business.
Yeah. So this segment, at least my portion of it right now, 25% of it is brought to you by Goat Fuel.
And listen,
this is what I'll be back to I couldn't find another one, but looking at this card, I know you guys are listening audio, so it's hard to explain. There is some weirdness on the back. So I wonder if that's where the verbiage of autograph would have been, but they would have known then this
Looks like a
specific card.
scratch off.
Looks like a scratch off. They know that the verbiage.
Scratch off.
I don't. It's just weird. There's nothing written right there. That would be
Doesn't it look like like something you would scratch off?
Yes.
But maybe that design part is also on the front here too. So maybe that's just part of the Donruss design. I don't know, but I'd have to see another one. Obviously, it's early and not everybody got a next day.
Is it? Is that up for bid or is that for buy
It is
now?
99 cents. Just actually 5-day auction, 4 days and 23 hours in. So literally freshly posted in Scottsdale, Arizona. That's where you can get it at. That's where you can buy it from. It's Scottsdale.
Interesting.
But yeah, I don't think it's anything revolutionary, but I'm glad that they kept the chase in there without the autograph. As you guys know and have listened to the show in a while, you won't be getting Wemby autographs in
Or Brandon
Panini
Miller.
products. Or Brandon Miller.
Or Scoot Henderson.
So are they all? They're probably going to have other non-autograph next days.
Yeah.
Won't
Wait,
be
no.
just Wemby.
Is Scoot an exclusive as
Yeah,
well?
Scoot's
Yep.
exclusive.
Yep.
God damn it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
We have no
I think
choice but to love it because that's the only choice.
That's true.
It's only Donruss choice.
Donruss.
I wonder if the checklist indicates who might have on autograph next days. What team is Scoot on?
Portland Trailblazers.
I believe they're going to have parallels of that too, right?
I would think.
Yeah.
They should. Yeah, they should.
Well,
no. The next days are usually.
Luckily for this draft right now, as of we're recording, there are other 2023 rookies that have come out and performed and are now very guys that people are actually chasing. Derek Lively on the Dallas Mavericks, he'll have autographs. The Pacers rookies has some hype right now. So yeah, even the other Thunder rookie, Kassan Wallace, people are chasing.
How about the Warriors, dude?
Yep,
the guy from-
Pozinski, he's a top 10 rookie right now.
the guy
Yep.
from Santa Clara.
Is it
Pozinski?
No, Jamie Jacquez. Is that it? On the Heat.
Oh, he's actually a top 3 rookie right now.
But I did notice that. I need to check the checklist here. For
Jaime
Donruss.
Jaquez, yeah.
His stuff is not in Prism. His auto is not in Prism.
It is not in prison.
Not in Prism.
So the top's
Just
already get
space.
him to him too.
I mean, that would be crazy because he was like the 18th
Because
pick.
he was in hoops too. He had autographs in hoops.
Yeah. So maybe it's just Prism. Maybe he's
So
in
if
Donruss.
That is bizarre. Though.
Right.
Why wouldn't you
Like,
have
he's a-
him?
He's
Like
a first round pick.
you're not the luxury right now, Panini, to
If-
be like knocking rookies out of the checklist.
Yeah.
Unless he is a
for
Fanatics
the
guy.
if
checklist.
Jaime Jaquez has a next day auto, he would actually be the biggest next day auto chase
Yes.
right now, as of right now.
Yeah, and so we also have Phoenix, which is on the heels of Prism and Absolute. So we're going to see this trend continue with football being hot right now, with the playoffs heating up. So, look at it. 2 autographs. This comes out on Friday, guys, so you can get your breaks and use that code we mentioned, Mojobreak.com. 2 autographs, 1 memorabilia, 2 silvers. This is per box. 10 numbered parallels, 9 inserts, 12 rookies, 2 SP inserts, 1 color burst, and 4 SPS, whatever that means. It seems like it's kind of the same thing. Case hit Dreamweaver is back. I think that's been in there as well.
I believe it can take me through the night.
the great Gary Glitter.
Oh gosh, I could not tell you. I was just gonna say if I pull that car, I'll say it
I mean,
will be mine.
yes. I think yeah.
Gary Wright.
I think.
Thank you.
What is it?
Not Gary.
Gary Wright.
Quite decidedly not Gary Glitter. If you know anything about him.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that song makes me think of Wayne's World.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Great song. There we go.
Well, this isn't going to be on YouTube.
I only played like
think that
9
was
seconds.
short
Yeah,
enough.
it's fine.
I
You
think
did
that was
like
short enough.
the iTunes preview.
Gary
version.
Wright?
Gary Wright.
What else did Gary Wright
Who
do?
the hell knows?
I mean, when you write a song like that, you don't need to write anything else.
No, that's it. You're one and done.
I mean, that's all you need.
why would you ever need to do anything else your entire life?
Love is Alive as well. I don't
Okay.
know if that's a big hit, but
Don't know it. Nope. So you only wrote Dream.
Yeah,
Weaver.
I mean,
that's it.
I kind of
No
remember this
disrespect.
one.
No disrespect.
No, I
Number 2 U.S. Billboard Top 100 in 1976.
Damn.
Yeah, we want is alive.
All right.
Can't really judge.
Fair
on that.
enough. I'm sorry, Garrett. I was not familiar with your game. Respect.
Love is Alive. Yep, that's him and that
Love
and
is
Dreamweaver.
alive, and soon Phoenix will be alive.
And rest in peace, Gary Wright. Apparently, as of 4 months ago. It's on my
R.I.P.
phone here,
Oh,
so
man.
great Gary Wright. Left us with Dreamweaver. Now he's weaving some dreams himself. So.
Yeah.
But so I mean, one thing I love about Phoenix too is it is kind of gives you that same Prism feel. It's a good card stock, So those CJ Stroud base and numbered parallels should be, in demand. I mean, the only thing I would say is Dreamweaver isn't a kaboom. So, what are we chasing necessarily for CJ Stroud?
There's actually 4 inserts that are SPs in Phoenix. There's one called Phoenician. That's a big one. There's the
casino
one
in
that you're
Vegas.
talking about, and then there's 2 other ones I can't recall. Night Moves is one, and then
Bob
there's,
Seger.
and then there's
Nice.
one other insert. So they actually have 4 SPs, kind of like just like how Prism has 4.
This might speak to
SPs.
the age of the developers at Panini.
I was gonna say
Dreamweaver.
we're just going with the classic rock
moves.
side. You're just like, what was on the classic rock
Tell me
station yesterday?
there's a Dream On insert.
Right. And what other yacht rock could we name?
right yacht rock and
I think Phoenix is every year. I think it's gaining popularity. I mean, it's not like a top tier product by any means, but it's like climbing in popularity every year.
I push it heavy. I think it's a good value proposition.
Like, what do
if you're
you
a Prism
think
type
right now?
lover.
Like, I know it's different, but certified or Phoenix?
Phoenix all the way.
Yeah.
Phoenix all the way.
5 years ago, I'd say certified. but-
Man, how now
Times
does
have
that
changed.
say that Phoenix is climbing or certified is declining?
I think Phoenix is climbing.
I think certified is declining.
Phoenix is,
little bit
rising
of
from
both.
the ashes.
It's Phoenix rising. Man, I mean, we're like really, really, really good today.
fire.
And I'd say probably it's mostly based on the fact that we're all hopped up on goat fuel.
That's true.
I got the Rockstar still.
We're goaded
That-
today.
They have not paid me enough.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Go.
they haven't paid me at all either. Yeah.
Hey, if Jerry Rice in a black and silver uniform wants to pay me, I'm all for it.
That's right.
That's when he was at his
Everybody's
best,
happy.
you know what I mean?
what's
I mean,
great.
oh,
It makes
I
everybody
without a doubt. I think of Jerry. I think of when he was a Raider.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything wrong. I mean,
Nope.
he was
Was very
basically the
good.
best in the league.
Still,
that's how I
still-
remember.
Yep, still great.
Seattle, he was really good. Denver, great.
So, what time are your
Oh, I
guys' teams
remember.
playing on? What time are you guys' teams playing on Championship Sunday? By the way, what time's your guys' games?
To think the Rams got so close to having a home NFC Championship game
So close.
being the 6th seed.
So close.
Just wrap your head around that real quick.
Didn't happen though. So
But-
nobody's talking
Because
about that.
the Niners just,
But they do.
and you might have to, bleep this, horseshoe up your ass.
Yeah.
A win's a win.
I mean, there is no team that is as lucky as the 49ers. It is ridiculous.
well, I mean, I could probably mention that time where that Saints game, where that guy got literally obliterated on the sideline during the pass.
Tommy Lee.
Yeah, and then
Jones,
they
Tommy
didn't throw a flag, and then you guys moved on, and Drew Brees'
Yeah.
legacy was tarnished. But
And we lost in the Super Bowl. But, yeah, that was a bad call. And you know what actually happened? After that, you can review pass interference calls. Remember that time?
yeah, thank you, Rams.
How long did that
Yeah,
last
thank
for?
you, Rams, I guess. The one and only time I'll ever say it.
But, man, like, the pick six
Yeah.
that was dropped.
Great. Yeah.
It's not pick six then.
Well, if I was out there, it would have been.
I'll say this. I mean, obviously you guys went through a roller coaster game. You guys were damn near losing that game. You guys should have probably lost that game. The Lions are coming to town.
Sure.
And they're red hot.
And look,
Oh, they're red hot.
with
Did you guys see that play that Jared Goff threw the ball backwards and then had to go run and go
not
jump
a sponsor,
on it?
but
It's the dumbest play in the history.
I will be downing some Faygo, eating some Detroit
style pizza.
Style pizza.
Oh, there's a Detroit style pizza?
Yeah.
Detroit style
100%.
pizza, Faygo, and I'll be listening to Eminem and ICP.
Cut
Yep,
into
me too.
cut
Rock.
into squares.
Kid
and
Rock.
Usually you get like the cheese is burnt on the crust.
Yeah, I'm gonna
It's actually very
I'm
good.
actually I'm with all serious, I'm actually gonna give it a
Detroit.
try. I'm gonna actually try to make it myself.
Detroit.
Well, I mean, I get it. You know, the Niners have been in a 33% of all NFC Championship games, 19 of them, by the way, and in the history of the NFL. So, I mean, it's
God,
an
I
easy team
hate
to
that
hate.
team.
It's an easy team to hate. I get it. We're becoming the Yankees of football here, and you know, the Lions haven't been there. yet.
No team easier to hate. I will agree with you.
And let me be the first to kick our team while we're insult our team. They are absolutely the Yankees of football in that they won all of the championships 30 years ago and then continue to go to the playoffs and not win any championships over the last 25, 30 years. So
I like it, Cody.
We won some
ready
NFC
for a
championships.
win. I need it.
No, you don't.
Yes.
No, you don't.
Again, I've said
Nothing.
it.
Hey,
I will
man.
echo it.
Nothing wrong with silver. Nothing wrong with bronze.
The
As
Bay
long as you're on the
Area.
podium, it's all that matters.
The Raiders need to win
The
more than
Bay
you guys.
Area needs this so bad.
No,
Bay Area needs the Raiders
The Bay
to win.
Area is spoiled. We're spoiled.
Not really. Well, okay, yeah, the Warriors won a couple years ago, I guess. But the Warriors ain't going to win one for a while. The Giants, well, who the hell knows? The
Yeah, but
Yankees
they
are
won.
out
They
of
won
town.
3 and 5.
The Sharks are.
Sharks will never.
Well,
they may
never-
not win
they
another
never
game,
again,
let alone a championship.
This is all we've got for the foreseeable future. Need it.
All right, and let me ask you guys a serious question.
Okay,
and
serious
all jokes aside, we know that we could easily all agree probably that Mahomes and Lamar are number one. I might make an argument, but I'm not going to. Would any of you guys take Jared Goff over Brock Purdy?
I love Jared
Yes.
Goff.
What?
I love Jared Goff.
Here we go.
Have you guys, dude?
Jared,
He's been great the last 2
hey,
seasons.
you're actually comparing somebody who went first overall to somebody who went last overall.
So that doesn't matter. When
No,
it's on
it
the field.
does.
No, it doesn't.
It does. Brock has tiny hands.
Ryan Leaf went first overall too. Where did he go? What happened to him?
Ryan Leaf went second overall.
Let me say,
Well,
how about this?
Might as well have been number
It works
one.
out more for guys that go first overall than guys that go last overall. Can we say that?
Sure.
Can we say that?
Yes. Look at that. Just breaking down the facts. I mean, and that's what we're here for.
Except in this very specific case. Like,
Are you?
sure.
What you guys are like not even respecting the underdogness
If
of
you
a
guys
seventh
had-
over like
let-
the
let-
last pick
You
of the
just
draft.
said you've been to 19 NFC Championship games. You're not an underdog.
Dude, let's be real. Let's be real. If Jared Goff was on the Niners, you guys probably would have went undefeated.
No, not at all.
Oh, so that was you in the TikTok comment that mentioned that. Someone said that exact comment on a post we just put up.
He was so good.
Exact comment.
They was so good in that Patriot Rams Super Bowl that they were like, yeah, we're gonna go get Stafford and we're gonna trade.
Well,
Look, all these
when you have an
picks-
opportunity to get one of the greatest quarterbacks ever to
I mean,
do it.
Stafford is obviously an upgrade over Jared Goff. Obviously an upgrade.
Yes. Look, good for Jared Goff. Good for the Detroit Lions.
Detroit.
This is a great story.
Detroit.
Dan Campbell is a man. That guy is a head coach. That man would. If that guy
That's a
came in
boy.
here right now,
I actually
would run
think it
through a
kind of
wall
sounds
for
like
him.
Cody is going to be rooting for the Lions.
That
Yeah.
said, Niners by 14.
Yeah, easily.
By 14?
It's 7.
How much of the
It's
game did
7
you watch
Yeah, guess what?
last
It was
week?
raining. It was raining.
Raining. What made?
Brock,
What did,
don't
what
plug in
did
the
you
rain.
watch?
What
in
time
that
is this game on
watched-
Sunday?
I
What
watched
did you watch in
3:30.
that game where you're just like, man, like this
watched-
team is on fire?
I watched a young man who cannot play in the rain. He probably would admit as much. I don't like playing in the rain. And guess what? Sunny, 70 degrees, and beautiful.
Where did
Santa
he go to
Clara,
school again?
Iowa.
Iowa. He's from Arizona.
Does it not
He's from
rain
the
in
desert.
Iowa?
He's from the
Does
desert.
it not? What type of weather you usually
He's
get in
from
the winter of
look,
Iowa?
He's a desert
Pretty
kid.
sure it sucks.
He's a desert kid. That's where he's from. Iowa. That was a bump. That was just a brief stop.
It rains in the desert.
Not that often.
You get some.
I mean, there's
pretty-
got to be a part of you guys that are a little worried after that Green Bay Packers.
No.
I mean, you would think that. It probably the rational part should be, and yet I feel even more like, all right, we got it out of our system. They got it out of this.
And the
fan base is unlike any other.
The
fan.
psychology of the game. You come in, Green Bay is a 7th seed. They have nothing to lose. They're playing, excellent football. They had a great game plan. 2 interceptions. That was a difference in the game. Christian McCaffrey, difference in the game. The last drive, 6 of 7 on passes, which the 7th one was dropped by Kittle. That was a difference in the game. The Lions, if you watch the reactions of their fans, they could lose on Sunday and the season is a success.
Not true.
That is the difference.
No. The Lions are not going to Santa Clara and be like, well, if we lose, that was fun.
No, of course not.
No.
Yeah.
Of course not.
And also the Niners, if they complete this, which they will be the first NFC team to ever beat every single playoff team in the same season.
Wait. What?
They've beat every single playoff team if they beat the Lions because they've beat the Rams.
They lost against the Rams.
They
lost against the Rams as well.
They lost, yeah. But they beat the Bucs.
I'm like, they did not.
They beat the Eagles. They beat the Cowboys. They beat the Packers. So that would be the first time in NFC history that's happened.
Honest question. Let's move off the Niner stuff for a second, sort of. Best Super Bowl matchup hobby-wise. What would it be? And I'll just start by saying, I hate to say it, as a Niner fan, it's probably Lions and...
No, there's nobody on the Lions to chase.
I'm
You're
just
not
saying
gonna go back to
Lions,
2016.
Lions and Ravens. Because there's so many rookies, too.
For the hobby,
So many
I'm
rookies. There's a ton of rookies.
I'm taking off
Jahmyr
my
Gibbs.
Niner hater hat for a second. I actually disagree. Who would you possibly chase? And we know it's all about quarterbacks when it comes to the hobby.
True.
And no one's going to go back and try to start collecting Jared Goff.
I guess it's like, I say Ravens, too, because the fact is, no matter what happens this weekend with the Chiefs or the Niners...
I think it's Mahomes.
But, does a win or a loss do that much for Mahomes' value?
If Mahomes wins another Super Bowl, it would be 3 Super Bowls, right? And in his first real year,
6 straight AFC championships.
So
his first real year was 2018. So from 2018 to now, he would have 3 Super Bowl championships.
Yeah.
And 6 AFC championship games.
He's on a better pace than Brady. He's on a better pace than Brady.
He's
not Brady, but
I
he's on a
don't
better
know
pace.
how you could look at that and say his cards are going to go down.
They're not.
They're not going to go down.
But how much do they go
I think
my question.
I think the Chiefs with Mahomes potentially can go up. I think the Niners with Brock Purdy, his cards could
Well,
potentially
and I'm
go
looking
up
at the
with a win.
obtainability here, right? I guess 2022 last year still a little bit more readily available. Prices aren't too crazy. You could obtain those boxes if you're chasing Brock Purdy. 2017, you can't. I mean, you're not going to pay $8,000, $9,000 for a contenders box. You're not going to do it because your chances of getting Mahomes are very rare, and that's the only guy that's going to get you paid. 2016 now, maybe is a good price point with Dak, Goff, Wentz. 2018 is kind of in the middle. You those prices have already went up because of Allen. Lamar's always been consistent as well. So 2022 seems like the better value right now if you're chasing boxes to possibly add some Purdy's to your collection. I'll tell you what, at Chronicles, if you can get your hands on the Chronicles hobby box or even a Blaster. Blaster's harder to get the rookies, but Chronicles, you're going to get a more quantity over quality. You're going to get a lot of Brock Purdy rookies that you might be able to grade. That's my pick, and that's without the Niner homer hat on. If you could afford 2017, you also have Christian McCaffrey in there as well, but he is a running back. So, which somebody's just trying to sell. I think his gold kaboom sold for $1,800, and somebody pulled the green one. They're trying to get $15,000, which is way more than his RPA.
Out of absolute
This year, because his first Niner kaboom.
Right. Yeah.
And he was just named Offensive Player of the Year by somebody. By
me.
PWFA or something like that.
I named it
San Francisco Chronicle or something like that.
It was
my offensive player of the year.
Oakland Tribune or
no, they named Lamar. They named Lamar the MVP. Myles Garrett the Defensive Player of the Year, and McCaffrey the Offensive Player of the Year.
I do think the most room to grow here is Lamar though, where it's he wins an MVP in a Super Bowl.
That'd be second MVP.
Second MVP, first Super Bowl. He's still what? Just a little younger than Mahomes, right?
I think Lamar. We could say Lamar. If they lose on Sunday, he's still elite. He is a top,
so.
he top 3, top 5 quarterback in the league.
Yes, I agree with that, but I do think there still will be the playoff question lingering over him. I know that was an emphatic win against the Texans.
They're about to destroy the Chiefs.
But without a doubt,
I sure hope so.
like they definitely looked like the most complete team out of all the playoff teams that played Saturday and Sunday.
They're gonna wreck the Kansas City.
But if you want to play, and again, I think they're the
hard
better
to
team.
bet against Patrick Mahomes though.
Yes.
Yeah, because I thought the Bills had I mean, this is the first time the Bills were playing him at home. They've always played Patrick Mahomes on the road in the playoffs. They finally secured the bag to get it at home, and
But Buffalo can't do it in the playoffs, even recently. Like, they cannot get it done. Mahomes can get it done.
Absolutely cursed franchise.
But
poor guys.
I believe, I'm with Conrad. I actually think, I just think if the Chiefs are playing anybody else but the Ravens,
they would
win.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody even gets close to beating the Ravens. I think the Ravens are the Super Bowl champions.
They're really good.
100%.
They're really
well,
really
and
good.
I
know that hurts.
and it depends on how they
because you guys are going to get there and just
look. And I said this.
You're going to hand the trophy over.
If I'm the Niners, and again, I know we're almost.
Here you go.
I'm sorry, we're totally discounting the Lions. They're a very good team, and I think it's not. I said 14, but who knows? But if I'm the Niners, I would rather play the Ravens because. Yes.
No.
Only because
you just
kind of in that
just,
camp
You
too.
just said the Niners
Yes.
are going to win by 14.
yes.
against the Lions.
Against the Lions.
Yes.
And now you just said, I think the Niners. I'd
rather
rather
them
the
play
Niners
the
play the
Ravens.
Ravens.
Only because, and I know.
So
and
the
I
Super
know
Bowl.
that was
So the Super Bowl is going to be the Niners over the Ravens by more than 14.
That's not. I didn't say that part.
The Lions are.
Here's what I'll say.
I'm just connecting the dots.
I'm just because I would rather face the team you've already faced once. And not just like you got out of your system, but it's like you've played them once. You know what's coming.
What about getting your licks back for the Super Bowl?
It's a different team, though.
You know, I don't know. That's me personally. I would rather maybe a little chip on your shoulder to get revenge.
Well, and
you played them already.
right.
You're familiar there. Whereas the Chiefs coming in, if they beat the Ravens, you're like, crap,
So instead
this
of like
guy
again.
again.
Instead of 4 interceptions, Brock Purdy is going to throw you were hoping he's going to throw 2.
Sure.
So he's throwing 4 interceptions all game.
Who do you want to see? Hypothetically, let's say the Niners do get past the Lions, which is not going to be easy.
Yep.
It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be 14 points.
Maybe.
Who do you want to see in the Super Bowl? Do you want to see?
I'm saying the Ravens.
You want to see the Ravens?
Yes.
The Ravens.
You want to see the Ravens?
do I.
Is it because you guys
Look,
are scared of your daddy?
I'd rather.
You're scared of your daddy.
I'd rather see the New England Patriots
Just
as
admit
they're
you're
right
scared-
now.
you're
Of
scared-
course.
You're scared to see Patty
well,
Mahomes.
you also got to say
I'd rather see Bailey Zappi and the Patriots.
this would be Patrick
you really
Mahomes.
want it,
Oh, you can't.
But I have to pick between literally the two scariest teams in the AFC.
Well, look at it this
So
way.
I'm gonna pick
Look at-
it's not an easy choice.
This would be Patrick Mahomes' 4th Super Bowl. This is like a routine for him. The lights are not that big for him. We don't know about Lamar in the Super Bowl because we had never been to one.
never seen
So he jitters. It might happen.
we know.
It's less likely to happen with Mahomes.
We know Harbaugh in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man.
With Joe Flacco.
Unfortunately, we do.
Do you think the lights are too bright for Harbaugh? You think he's gonna get there and be like, man, I don't know what we're gonna do, guys?
No, but he's not throwing the ball. He's not running. He's not running back. But
he's coaching him out.
The one thing that I see the flaw in Lamar's game too, and it happened right in the first drive of the Niners game is the running backwards, trying to make the run happen and running backwards. He does that a lot. He did that in the Texans game and he got sacked. So it's like those moves are like kind of like trying to create something out of nowhere. Where I think Mahomes isn't a running quarterback anymore, mostly a thrower, and I think he just knows he's just more comfortable back there, regardless of the talent around him.
I think the pocket awareness of Lamar and Patty Mahomes are very similar. They know how to just wiggle their way out of trouble.
Yeah,
for the most part.
but except, I mean,
Lamar does get more.
Lamar gets into open space.
Yeah.
And you can't really just chase him down and throw him down to the ground. He literally it's like playing with Michael Vick in the old Madden games.
And it's also
it's
the way he's reading and like accelerating and decelerating as he's on the run. Like I mentioned it before, like it never feels like he's running at 100% top speed. It feels like he always is like looking for the next move, kind of has to slow down a bit, finds the whole move. It's pretty remarkable.
And they are probably going to have his target, his number one
That's the other
target
part is Mark
is
Andrews
probably
gonna be
going to be healthy.
Yep.
Maybe not for this game, but if they do get to the Super Bowl
He absolutely
with that
did
2
though.
weeks, there's no doubt that like Mark Andrews is going to be there.
Yep.
That team's already scary without Mark Andrews,
Yeah,
so-
I mean, and
absolutely
likely is legit. Like I would say, most teams out there likely would be their number one receiving tight end.
Yeah.
And he's like the backup to Mark Andrews.
Well, and I want to go. I want to take this back to cards, and this is going to be going against my Niner fandom here. But I think if and this is a guy that I would be buying. You know, the rest of America besides Niner fans are going for the Lions. So if you believe in the Lions, I think the guy that's going to win the game, the guy that's going to make the most impact is Gibbs. I think you see what Aaron Jones did to us. Gibbs had a great game his last game. The kid's electric. Plus, you've got like Barry Sanders is going to be in attendance. So if they somehow pull out this victory, I think it's going to be on the heels. I know they have Montgomery too, but you know, getting Gibbs out there in open space, if he gets 100-something yards, they win. The comparisons to Barry Sanders are going to come, which if you're holding on to some Gibbs beforehand, or you want to grab some now before the game, I think it's a good time to, you know, out of all the guys, because he's in this year's product, right? So you could be buying the Lions and breaks. Because I'm looking, I mean, what the Chiefs have, Rashee Rice, I mean, could make an impact. Was Pacheco's last year?
Yes.
Pacheco's last year. Ravens, I mean,
Zay
Flowers, maybe, but I don't think the offense is going to run through him.
How about Aiden Hutchinson?
It's just defensive.
Sam
guys.
Laporta is
interesting.
another big rookie for
Yeah,
on the
Laporta.
tight end on the Lions.
Yeah, so if you're buying into breaks, you could be getting Gibbs and Laporta right
Yeah,
now.
Laporta.
I say the Lions. are-
Laporta could be a problem for the Niners.
Yeah.
Just like Kittle will be a problem for the Lions, of course. Both from tight end university there. So that's what
14.
Yeah.
Win by 14.
I would. Could we bet? Can you put your money where your mouth's at? Because I will gladly
Give
take.
him the minus 14, dude, or minus 13.
But what's it going to take? So are you guys going to – is anybody going to say Brock's elite after he wins this game, wins the Super Bowl, or is it going to be like, oh, that was because of Christian McCaffrey?
I think he has to win.
That is,
He has to win the Super Bowl for sure.
He does, unfortunately.
But what if he doesn't get the MVP for the Super Bowl? Then it's going to be like, well, it's because Christian McCaffrey.
I
had
don't
250
care
yards.
about.
Then
I don't.
it's the Steph Curry conversation.
But I
where
don't.
we're like,
Here's
Iguodala won
the
it.
issue with Niner
What's going
fans.
on?
Niner fans are so concerned about what other, like fans of other teams think about their quarterback.
Yeah, I just don't care
Who
anymore.
cares?
I don't care
Who
anymore.
cares if me being a Ram fan, if I'm like, I don't like Brock Purdy, I think he sucks. Who cares?
Yep.
Like, you guys need this like validation. Make sure everybody likes our quarterback and puts him in the same category as an elite quarterback. Who cares?
I think it's the most exhausting conversation right now in sports talk is the Purdy, elite, not elite. He stinks. He
like your
doesn't.
quarterback,
He's
have
the
your own
best.
opinion of your
There's no
quarterback.
but there's like no middle ground is what it feels like. It's either, I saw some Niners beat writers being like, Joe Montana. I'm like, calm down. And then others being like, absolute trash, the worst quarterback who's ever started the NFL.
Jimmy would be better.
Again, calm down.
I mean, yeah,
he's a good quarterback.
Honestly, I'm going to be. It's somewhere in between. It's somewhere in the middle.
He's a good
Somewhere
NFL
in the middle. He's
starting
not Joe
quarterback.
Montana. Not the worst quarterback
He
ever to
is-
play in a football game.
He is a better starting quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. I feel like we can agree on that.
I
We
actually
saw the proof this
think,
year.
I think
that Jimmy G stinks.
Honestly, I think he is similar to Jimmy G.
He is better than Jimmy G. The man had
But it doesn't
Devontae
matter.
Adams
It doesn't
to throw
matter
to.
what I think.
And look what he did.
Like your quarterback.
Nothing.
Love your quarterback.
Nothing.
Love your quarterback. It's fine.
21-5 first two seasons. I mean, I don't know.
I don't.
People have that
I don't.
record.
I don't have to. I don't have to like Brock Purdy.
No, I guess not.
I don't
But you
have
can
to.
also
I can-
say like,
I could.
but you can also say this guy is an NFL quarterback.
But the thing of
He's an
it-
NFL
You know what he
starting
does?
quarterback.
You know what? He's a quarterback on a team that wins a lot of games.
But see-
you're
No,
dancing
there's
around
not-
it.
but
You're dancing around it.
But you haven't seen me come in here and go like, Stafford's garbage.
Look
Like,
at his stats.
He's not. Well, look at Purdy's stats.
No, 09 to right now. You cannot compare 21-5.
How many playoff games did he go to in the Lions?
It doesn't. He was on the Lions. Put Stafford on. So take the Niners team right now and put that Niners team, dress them up in Lions gear, and have in 09 and have that team play with Stafford. Stafford never leaves Detroit because they never lose a game.
He had arguably
They win. They literally he's 180-0.
I think that's.
He had arguably the best receiver in the whole game. He had
Stafford's
Calvin
good.
Johnson.
He did.
He had one
He had
guy.
Calvin Johnson.
He had one guy.
Yeah.
He had one guy.
It's like all those years where you guys had Terrell Owens. Remember that? Remember those years?
But nobody's going to your team and saying Puka Nacua, the only reason he's good is because he's got Stafford throwing to him. You know what I'm saying?
That actually is.
That's not a narrative.
That is actually
not a narrative.
That is an exact narrative. And honestly, I don't give a shit. I don't like Puka Nacua. I don't need to be like, I need you to validate how good this guy is so I feel better about it. Like, I don't give a shit.
No, it's because the rest of the league is all poor sports. That's what it is they do not want to. It's like, hey, good game. You have a great quarterback. Good game. You know, no, it's like Niner fans are saying, hey, Jordan Love has a bright future. We're not like, he's garbage. He threw 2 picks. You know, they should have had Aaron Rodgers still. Like, oh, you know, we're not out there saying that because we're not poor sports. The rest of the league right now is poor sports because they don't want to admit that they pass up on a guy 7 rounds and they're sitting out there with Mac Jones or they're sitting out there with whatever the guy is of the Jets. You know, like they had Rodgers, now they Zach Wilson.
Let's also
nobody wants to admit that.
Let's also admit the Niners got incredibly lucky with Brock Purdy landing in their laps, and that it made up for one of the worst draft decisions they made in a long time when they chose Trey Lance and bargained their entire future on.
Don't know what Trey Lance is capable of doing.
And it didn't come back to bite them.
Like, Trey Lance hasn't played enough in the NFL to basically say Trey Lance is a bust.
But at the same time, and I want to see him thrive. I really do. I want to see Trey Lance succeed. But there was,
no, you don't.
I do.
No, you don't.
I'm not on the Cowboys.
No, you don't.
Not on the Cowboys. Let's put it this way. Not on the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe for, I don't know,
somebody in the AFC.
Carolina.
Somebody in the AFC that you never have to play.
Better. That would be great. If you want to be the
I would love to see him thrive on the Cowboys uniform.
If you want to be the greatest quarterback,
Sold 2023 Prism.
In, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a team
Pittsburgh?
I don't care about.
No, probably not Pittsburgh.
No,
how about Cleveland?
If you want to be the greatest quarterback in Cleveland Browns history, Trey Lance, have at it.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Have at it. That would be
another franchise that
fantastic.
deserves something.
But yeah, no, to the point, like, yeah, who cares what other people think? If you're winning, it's how I felt when the Giants were winning championships. People were like, "This is boring." I'm like, not for me. This rules. The Spurs, all the Spurs fans who were like, all the non-Spurs fans, boring. Spurs win again. Like, guess who's not boring for? The entire city of San Antonio. They love it.
But at the same time, it's not comparable to that situation because it's like people aren't be like, well, Aaron Judge, like he hit 70 home runs or whatever. But it's like it was his supporting cast that it was a good thing that he had great coaching and the supporting staff. But like people don't say that about anybody else in sports.
Aaron Judge, I think it actually the lineup that he's in actually does allow him to hit.
But nobody uses that narrative.
It's exactly.
Nobody uses that narrative. I'm fine with saying people are garbage, but he's not garbage.
But why? Who cares? I don't understand. Like, you just want everybody to come out and be like, you know what, Brock Purdy, maybe he is the best in the league.
Yes. Yeah, that's
maybe he is the best.
I just want everyone to be normal about this. Don't say he's the second coming, and don't say he's worse than he's literally trash. Like,
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't care. I don't care. I've never said Brock Purdy is trash.
Right.
Never said he's trash.
No.
But
no, I'm not saying you.
Do I think he is an elite quarterback? Absolutely not.
Okay.
And I don't think that because he's literally been in the league for 2 years.
Right.
I don't think you can basically you can't say CJ Stroud right now is an elite quarterback.
But most analysts have already put him above Purdy. 100%.
I don't know if most.
But I mean,
people were putting Mayfield and Goff.
It's always going to be really, really tough to look at the intangibles. Look at Brock Purdy, his height, his weight, his hand size, like all the things that made him a 7th rounder. It's going to be hard to overlook that.
And that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. But you guys have been patiently waiting for this interview with Eddie from Sports Card Nonsense Breaks. Good conversation. And here you go. All right, guys, we are joined today by a very special guest, something that's been in the works for a little while. Obviously, you've seen us do a podcast with Jesse and Mike. But now we've got Eddie from Sports Card Nonsense Breaks. Eddie, thanks for joining us, man.
Dude, thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun. You have an amazing setup here. I really
Thank you.
like it. Yeah.
Try to keep this thing clean and organized. I think we call it organized chaos around here. So
that's the lifestyle.
Yep, exactly, man. Well, I want to hear your story. I haven't even heard it off air. Like, how did you get involved in the hobby and got into breaks?
I mean, like us all, we all collected growing up, and then we all had that probably decade where we were way too cool for it. And then I came back to it probably in like 2009.
Okay.
And got really into collecting. It was the year before Strasbourg. Strasbourg
Yeah.
was 2010,
Yep.
and that was like a big chase in Topps Chrome that year. I remember, and it was Posey rookie year, and there was a lot of stuff that brought me back into the hobby. And then I got really into. I didn't even know anything about breaks in 2009. I know that there was stuff going on and whatnot, but I was oblivious to it, oblivious to the whole Facebook world of everything.
Right.
I just got into the collecting again, going to this local shops and this, and fast forward 5 more years, and probably 2015 or so. Ended up getting into breaks and the Raz rooms and all that kind of stuff. And
Red and gold blooded.
Yeah, red and gold blooded, aces and eights, all the fun ones, and got really into that. Got me into the higher end cards, and then you start getting into I like the higher end singles. I like ripping wax. I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and start ripping some higher end wax.
Yeah,
did that. Had a lot of fun,
which was much more affordable back then.
Yes, exactly. And then I started venturing into breaks, and I found a couple of breakers that I really liked at the time. One of them was a really short, obnoxious guy from Boston, Mike Giuseppe, and we love Mike.
He told me you were the short guy.
I'm like a half-inch taller than him. If he says anything different, he's a dang lie. He's a dang lie. We measured ourselves at the first national. The first time we ever met, the first time I walked straight up to him and just said, back to back.
Yeah. Let's clear the air here.
But yeah, so I found Mike, and he was doing stuff with this was like Brews Breaks back in the day, and him and Michael Brewer were doing something, and I really enjoyed his break style. I was a good customer of his, off and on for a couple of years, and then one day he went into his room and said, guys, I'm thinking about starting a podcast, and I'm getting out of breaking, and I'm thinking about selling my allocation. And I had just moved to San Jose and was in a career change.
Where were you from previously?
Redwood City.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was just down on the peninsula. I was there for since high school and stuff. But I was in the middle of a career change, and I remember hearing that, smoking my morning cigarette, and I listened to my wife. And I looked at her. I said, I think we might do something crazy. I think we might do something crazy.
Take the leap, right?
Yeah, this was right, really right before COVID started, and I said, call me crazy, but, I'm into collecting. I'm into the hobby. I love this stuff. Like, if I can make some money doing it, that'd be great.
Do what you love, right?
And I'm not that idiot that's going to come in here and tell you I do it for the passion and I do it for this. And yes, we all love what we do and we're thankful that we do it, but let's be real. Like, if it didn't pay our bills, we wouldn't be investing this much, not just monetary value, but, blood, sweat, and tears into this stuff.
100%.
So I made the call to Mike, and, he kind of laughed me off for a little bit because I wasn't his whale customer. I wasn't the guy that was spending $10,000 a month with him. And, Bay Area money is different, right? Yeah,
sure.
We have our money not in cardboard.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
So I had to explain to him and, showed him tax returns and showed him bank account statements and this and that, and sufficed his needs. And so he said, okay, let's talk, So we talked it over and we made a deal, and I ended up purchasing the Peach State allocation account and the Facebook group from him. And I didn't even change the name. I still kept Gio Breaks.
Right.
There's no ego
Makes sense.
in it.
Yeah.
I mean, he did a great job building an incredible community, and he kept it fairly small and tight-knit, which I liked. Mm-hmm. But I also realized he was doing it 2-3 days a week. And if I'm going to do this 7 days a week, I can't have 1,200 members in a group. I need 5,000+ at least.
Right.
We need eyeballs, and we need different venues. And so I told him, I said, yeah, we're going to break all sports. We're going to grow this, grow the business and grow the room and yada, yada. And we went from 1,600 to almost 7,000 in a matter of like 24 months.
Wow.
So we did great. And about a year and a half into it, I realized I was, breaking 5-6 cases a night by myself. And then my wife and I are up till 3 a.m. sorting and, this and that. And that's when I brought Nick on, and Nick's been an incredible add to the company. And it allows, like you said, to be able to start to enjoy your job again.
Right.
It takes a
Take
lot
a few
of that.
a few hours off every once in a while.
a couple. But yeah, that's kind of the short story of it,
I like what you said about Facebook. So we never really broke on Facebook, and I know a lot of guys got their start there. Like, how hard was it to get like, what was the strategy of like building that community?
Yeah,
was it just word of mouth? Was it?
It was a lot of word of mouth, and it was a lot of just investing in your current guys, and investing in your current group. And I was breaking, what was it, 2020 Bowman at the time, and I was breaking it, $1,000 a case under blowout.
Trying to get Jason Dominguez.
Yeah, but just trying to get guys. I wanted my guys to hit something big and monstrous with us, and not have paid an arm and a leg to get into that break, and they're going to want to do it again and again and again.
Sure.
And eventually we got a big enough group that stuff started filling really quick. I mean, during the COVID time.
Now with that, you had to just have them send PayPal, right? So you had to. So that's like the process of making sure they paid. And
PayPal and Venmo and Cash App.
That's
and
crazy.
Keeping track of all of those things tax-wise was not fun. It's what's made these app-based sales, so much more convenient.
But I love the Facebook, like, because I talked to Ryan from Real Breaks, who they did do a lot of Facebook stuff, and it would snap fill that way, like because that's the benefit of having a post, people seeing the post, and having to jump in, so it creates that like sense of like urgency, right? Like, I gotta wait when Eddie's gonna post this next case, and I want the Yankees. I gotta be on there.
Exactly. Well, and what that does is, while people are waiting for posts, you're able to create a community, right? You're able to create conversations between collectors. You're able to create things that's more than just humans waiting to buy a product from me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what kind of made us grow selectively, I'll call it. Because the Sports Cards Nonsense public Facebook group is just notorious for just being 60% trolls.
When you get that large, I mean, it's incredible. They have like 100,000.
130,000 people.
That's
I think
insane.
they got. But it's impossible to not have that. But we've kept the break group for Sports Cards Nonsense now fairly selective. I just went and booted 1,000 people over Christmas.
Jeez.
Just because, hey, if I haven't seen your name in a couple of years and you're not adding anything positively to our group, monetarily or not, then what are you doing here?
And that's actually a good question to ask too. Is like, what's the strategy on like negativity in this? Like, what do you guys do? I mean,
none.
Take the high road? Do you fire back? I mean, what are some of your strategies out there for people that are like getting started?
So, when it comes to people speaking negatively about you as a breaker to start, I mean, we've all been criticized for dropping a card on camera or, things that happen. And
right.
The thing that I think most people don't understand is, when you're really doing this for a living, guys I know I'm going to drop a card every once in a while. You handle upwards of 1 million cards a week. One's going to slip out of your hand and fall.
Yeah.
You pray to God it's not one that's expensive, and you're always over a matted area and it's safe, and but there's always going to be the people that call you out on it and this and that. And I've just tended to embrace it. Like, I find it a fun way to do a giveaway, do something, you know what I mean? And you create that kind of detractor into a group experience. You know what I mean? So it's a way to flip it.
I've dropped a few and I'm like, oh, base card, thank you. You know what I mean? Like, oh God, not the superfractor or something,
Exactly.
Yeah, we had a video at the National, and it was our own personal box, and we bought 0304 Chrome basketball.
Okay.
And it was the last pack because I already thought we were dead in the water.
Yeah.
And usually the rookie's like the second card or the last card. And I got a peek and it was a Seattle Supersonics. So I'm like, all right, we're done. Last card. But in the middle was a LeBron refractor. So I kind of just like, went, I threw it down. And then, of course, all the comments was like, PSA 7 now, PSA 6. Guy threw it down. It's like, it's so funny how the negativity.
It comes so fast that, and people, it's the internet, right? People will always pile on when it's anonymous and this and that. But at the same time, what I found is when you're able to give that reverse Uno card on it and either own your mistake or, flat out just, guys, that wasn't even an issue. Like, you have your, what do you call it? Your core guys that are always going to be there to defend you and, this and that. And that's what I love about the Facebook community specifically, is because it offers customers an avenue to post their experiences about stuff.
100%.
There isn't something really like that for a lot of these app-based things unless you take it to Instagram or you take it to Twitter. Or
and people feel like they're a part of something.
Yes.
It's almost like, we're talking Niners off air, like they have so many tailgate groups,
Exactly.
I'm part of the 408 Faithfuls, or I'm part of the Empire,
Exactly.
So you kind of get that same camaraderie in Facebook rooms.
Exactly. The thing that I've started to try to gear my way of thinking around lately, this last year or so, is breaking what I've experienced is much more of a collaboration than we really think it is. Mm-hmm. And it's something where it's not all of us against each other, and it's not us competing for the same buyers.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's something that I think a lot of small breakers, when they're starting, don't realize is that there there is so much market share here.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody is going to have even 10% market share of our business, and it's something where when you start to have that mentality of it's you against people, then it's harder to make these kind of collaborations.
That's a great point, and that's something that we've always tried to grow is partnerships, and getting to know other breakers. Like, I talk to Rich Layton all the time. I talk to, we keep these conversations growing to help grow our own businesses, because maybe I don't have a product or he's doing it in a certain way, and then new customers come in, they filter through, and we're bringing more people in the hobby, which is just making the pie bigger, right?
It's more eyeballs in general, and it's why I was so quick to agree to jump on Fanatics with Mike.
Yeah.
It's a great experience to be on with, you can see it's a very small pool of breakers that are on there still as compared to some of these other platforms.
Right.
Incredibly small. And you can really align yourself with a lot of the styles of a lot of these guys.
Yep.
And it's not hard to fit in. You know what I mean? You don't have to be the loud screamer like whatnot. These are much more professional breakers, I found.
Yeah.
They're
not holding box cutters to necks or ripping Michael Sam cards,
Right, exactly. Like so many things that just make you cringe in this hobby that I'm not really seeing on that platform, which is kind of cool. I think that's...
Yeah, and I think they take a little bit more invested interest because they do have product interest too, right?
Yeah.
So they are keeping the integrity up. They've had suspended some accounts, I've heard, for doing things that aren't up to par. And
heard a few stories myself.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just like, customers are number one, and that's what you got to put yourself behind is like, give the customer, as long as it's a reasonable request, you should be able to cater to that customer's needs and make them want to come back, right?
Absolutely.
So, which leads me to the next question. What are the biggest challenges moving forward with group breaks as we sit here today?
So it all depends, I think, on where you sit as a breaker, right?
Yeah.
If you have an allocation account through one of these distributors, your challenge going forward is going to be getting product.
Sure.
And because once these distributors go the way of the dodo, I'm guessing 2026.
Right.
Fanatics holds all the balls in the court.
Yep.
Yes, there's going to be upper deck. Yes, there's going to be this, but that's not enough to sustain any one business. And I think that's going to be the biggest problem going forward. And I think you're going to find a lot more mergers and partnerships and things going on. You're going to find a lot of consolidation umbrellas. People kind of just like what I did with Mike. Yes, we were business partners before, but now we are truly partners in this. And I think we're going to find a lot more of that going on because otherwise you just don't have access to it.
Right.
Without access, you sink real quick.
And as hobbyists, we don't want to make more necessarily, right? So, I mean, that just makes the product harder to get any value out of. So.
Right. I am thinking, I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot more of the Fanatics card division paying attention to what their breakers and their sellers are saying. Because there should be, I think, a few products where they print the absolute bejesus out of it.
Yeah.
And those shouldn't be marketed or sold to breakers. And they shouldn't be, you know what I mean?
Right.
Those are the ones that should be readily available at every hobby shop and every
like
Target.
Your Series 1s.
Yes,
your Series 2s.
But I'm of the mind, make Series 2, literally make that the junk era card.
Yeah.
And let it be. And let kids have a box they can go buy again for $6.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like that, to me, that's the part that I'd like to see come back because then I think it takes a lot of the, I can't go and buy my kid cards. I can't go in this. And, your kid doesn't need a Prism hobby box. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Just because that's not a readily available product doesn't mean that there's not great value in it for breaking or for other things.
Sure.
Dome and Percy's Prism is probably not a great idea all day.
Right. Yeah, we've always been proponents of that, because with the new regime coming in, everybody wants to take Ginter and make it 1-pack, or take Heritage and can we make it a 2-pack product? It's you got to let those products be what they are. That's what they are, And I understand, Backyard is not going to want to rip Heritage cases. They're not going to want to rip Series 1 cases, but guys like us do it, and we have a niche of doing that kind of stuff too, along with our high end. And you just kind of got to, the legacy of those products need to remain the same, and that goes along with your $6 pack and making it readily available for kids to get.
I mean, don't get me wrong, because I love the high end. That's where I truly find the rush, the enjoyment.
Of course.
We're all somewhat gamblers at nature. You know what I mean? But I don't. You shouldn't get a rush from opening a $6 pack. That should be an enjoyable experience where you're just looking for names.
Right.
You're just looking for who's your kid's favorite player and who can they trade in the playground. And that's the part that's I think is kind of lost when we see our 12-year-olds carrying around briefcases with $100,000 worth of cards in there.
Right. They're not collectors. They're trying to flip it. Right.
Yeah.
So
it's been a fun journey seeing where the hobby is going, and I am excited though in the direction it's headed because finally somebody's grabbing it and at least making decisions.
Yes. Yeah. And then the marketing they're doing has been like incredible. Like I laughed at like one of the first podcasts that Ruben had. And he said, this hobby's never been marketed. And I'm like, hey, wait, we've been doing this for a long time. We've been grinding away. We've been trying to market it. But what they've done with Brady and, having LeBron tweet out and have his Instagram post and his videos. And, it's like they really are trying to make more people aware.
They're putting the right words in the right people's mouths.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and maybe it's paid, maybe it's not, but I don't care. It's putting microphones in the right people's hands, talking about our world.
Yeah.
And this isn't a world that, if we're in the hobby, of course everybody knows everything about the hobby, and what players are actually collecting their own cards but if you don't collect or know somebody who collects, you know nothing about this.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, LeBron James sends out one tweet on there, and he's, there's 60% of his followers don't know anything about cards.
I had somebody say, I was listening to KBR, which is a local radio station here, and I heard about a Expos Tom Brady card, and I'm like, wow, and this is like just a random person I know, So I'm like, that's our hobby,
It's bringing extra eyeballs and extra interest, and none of it's bad to me.
That actually leads me to my next question. Just had me thinking about this because I similar to me, I'm sure you have these conversations where maybe you haven't seen somebody for 5-10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And how do you break down what you do in the least amount of time to make them understand what you do?
The quick one, when I explained it to my parents, that was the biggest one. I went from running a childcare, $5 million a year childcare with 300 kids every day to opening packs of baseball cards for a living. I try to explain it of, I buy and sell sports cards. And that's about as simple as it is, and I think that's the way I get it across in layman's terms to most people. And then they ask me, well, what does that even mean? You open packs as a kid? Yeah, remember those packs? They come in boxes. Those boxes come inside of cases. Those cases come on pallets. Yeah. We get those sent to us, and then we rip them all open and send them to the people that bought them. Yeah. I think that's the layman's term, you know what I mean? My mom still doesn't understand what I do.
Yeah, none of my family does, or a friend that you ran across, or you're at a party and you meet somebody, you try to tell them what to do. I've had so many different. I sell sports cards. A lot of people are like Lamborghinis, and I'm like, no. And then I say baseball cards, and it's always like, oh, like, are you doing okay, buddy?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, are you all right?
They don't believe there's actually money in the industry, but
or it's like, hey, I got some 1980 Conseco cards. You want to come look at them? And they're like. And you try to tell them they're not. Oh, well, that's the era. They made a lot. And, they're probably not worth much. But they're 30 years old. They should be worth.
They're worth memories.
Yes. Yeah. Hold on to another 30 years. Maybe they'll be worth something.
Right.
When everybody else throws them away. Right.
Right.
So
Exactly.
But yeah, it's always been a challenge, just trying to explain. And then if somebody ever tries to find out about breaking, they're like, "So you auction the car?" And like, no, they buy spots, and it's like just trying to go through that rhetoric is it's impossible.
Literally, just had the conversation with my brother over Christmas, and my brother's a few years younger than me, so he actually kind of gets it a little bit, and even he had a hard time, breaking down the fact like, okay, so you sell a team, and then you open it up, and they get the stuff from the. Yes, like that's the simplest version of it, Yeah. But then he wanted to know but all the teams aren't the same, are they? Like, your Niners are a lot better than other teams. And I'm like, well, that's why they're more expensive to buy.
Yeah, exactly. They're all priced differently.
Makes sense.
Now, Mike chimed in. He wants to know, do you have the hairiest hands in the hobby, or is your brother
the
similar?
Hobby, it's not even close. It's not even close, and I will put that reputation up against anybody.
I've been called sausage fingers, so you know what I mean. They think I'm holding mini cards all the time because I got such fat hands. So.
Oh, that's so great. That was a nickname that stuck. I don't even know. It came from like the first year I was breaking. And the guys, I don't even know what it, like my hands aren't even like crazy hairy.
Right, yeah.
But like, I guess the first time I had them up on camera, that was somebody's comment. And literally it stuck. Like I started making a repack called Hairy Hands Hot Packs.
Nice.
Like, it was amazing.
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah. I mean, so what are your thoughts on like, break comp, the I guess you can call them like a, a kind of watchdog price comparison.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen their posts kind of going up a little bit more.
I think I'm in the camp. I'm in both sides of this camp with break comp because I really do think from a customer standpoint, it can be a valuable tool. Mm-hmm. And from the seller's standpoint, I get how a lot of sellers are up in arms too, because they don't have all of the information that goes into how we have to price some things. And, we are told how to price some things. So there's not a lot of control in some things. Some things we do, some things we don't. And none of that gets accounted for. But on its face value, I do think it's a great thing for customers, for the consumer.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, just like if you're looking for a hotel or anything, it's very similar. With Kayak, Priceline.com.
All
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said for. I'll never want to be the lowest priced anything.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to be the lowest, you don't want to be the highest either.
Yeah, put me
right?
somewhere in the middle, and I'm a happy client. You know what I mean? Like it's somewhere in the middle, but your service is what makes you different, and that's what keeps your customers around. And that's why I hire Nick. You know what I mean? He's man ships out things in 24 hours, every single break, everything.
Nice, kudos to him.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what
How
separates.
much does Nick get paid? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, but there's something that. There's something to be said for a customer to be able to say, hey, I noticed you're at $110 on the Giants, so-and-so's at 85.
Yeah.
Cool. If that's the only team you're after in a break, go for it, bud.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I like the fact that they break down teams, but I do like the fact that they give a composite as well.
Yeah, the composite really helps because maybe we're 85 on the Giants, but we're like 175 on the Yankees and you're 155 on the Yankees.
Exactly.
So it balances it out, right? And everybody has... I mean, we try to aggregate as much data as like what sells first, like going into the next release,
Yeah.
like, hey, they have, it's hard, and we've been like the first one always out. And so then that's like, everybody kind of goes couple dollars underneath us. Right. So
it's impossible to keep up when you are doing the early release rips. That was our first experience with Bowman's Best and ripping early. We had to come out with our price list early, you know, and we were fairly competitive, on that early list. But then at the same time, once people start seeing that, they want to climb up that list, and so they're going to knock down $4 here and $3 there, just so they can be number 6 instead of number 10.
Right.
For me, honestly, it's all the same. Like as long as you're not, gregariously overpriced, right, or really shooting yourself in the foot or the rest of your
yeah, that's what happened. I think it was.
foot.
I think we priced the Colts. It was a Prism case, but it was like right before it came out, and we were like $5.99, so we were number 1, and it was like the second was like $7.99. I'm like, we didn't use any data. We just we're writing it down. We're like, okay, this is what we're going to price it out at. Not thinking that Anthony Richardson, he's been out, that he's going to really garnish that much value. But I always tell customers, it's good to get in early because usually
you're going to find your best deals.
Yeah, and the market's going to go up a secondary market anyway, so everything's going to have to be priced up higher on the next cases anyway. So, that's always a challenge. I mean, I know there's been some social media run-ins with those guys and other breakers, but they do what they need to do, and I do like the service. I think it's especially if I wasn't in like the business side of it, and I'm joining, and I want to see, that gives me a good snapshot of where I should be at.
The best thing about it to me is with the huge influx of new people to our hobby, and a lot of them don't do market research.
Right.
And I mean, it's why you see some breakers that can sell out cases at 200% blowout.
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And they're not doing market research. They're hyping things. So this does give that kind of aspect to these people that don't know any better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It gives them a starting place at least. You know what I mean? So it's,
and if you really like the breaker, you're going to pay $20, $30 more a
Sure.
spot, especially like you said, you get faster, 24-hour shipping.
Exactly.
That all plays into it. Some of these guys that are like the number 1, you don't know how many cases they're doing, how much case they got allocated too. That factors in, right? So
I think a lot of these breakers that have the lowest on there, they're getting 1 case allocated and they're just getting rid of it and being done.
right,
Exactly. Whereas the guys that are going to break 50, 60 cases of something, you're rebuying 40 of those cases. So
you're cost averaging it in and all that stuff.
So it's a good rough tool.
Yeah.
It's a good rough tool.
Yeah. So, speaking about, Fanatics, where do you think Panini and Upper Deck and the old guard of sports cards will be in 5 years? Is there a place for them with Fanatics taking over?
I mean, this has been something I've thought about a lot, is what happens to a lot of these, just dead products. Like we see how much exquisite boxes go for now. We see how much, old football triple threads boxes can bring, and you know what I mean. So what happens to those products? Because Panini's not just going away,
right?
You know what I mean? They're going to be pumping out something.
They're going to be doing soccer,
legends, or they're going to do legends and prospects stuff, and they're going to do, it's going to be something. But I think more than what's going to happen with Panini and Upper Deck, I'm really excited to bring back a lot of these high end Topps football and basketball products.
Yeah.
That's what I'm most...
Five-star football,
definitive football.
Yeah, which is where it got to start.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like there's so many of these high-end products that, people are saying they're going to miss, the NTs, the flawless, and this and that. you're going to be a fool if you don't think they're going to be making some crazy nice products out
Yeah.
there. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I'm more interested to see what happens for these first, like the new products, these first few years than what happens to the old.
Well, it's funny. We started in 2010, so we caught the beginning of Prism. 12, 13.
Yeah.
And it was like nobody wanted it.
It was $100, $60 a box. or
Yeah,
something.
in fact, the story I probably told this on this podcast, so I apologize. Is it was the 13-14 Prism year, but then the next year was 14-15, right? So it had was that Cat or Booker, one of those guys, right? So in order to get NT, we had to buy 2 cases of 13-14 Prism at $40 a box to get NT. 1 case, so it was a 2-to-1. So I had like 50 13-14 Prism cases. We were using them for hitless packs. We were using them for hitless packs back then because nobody wanted it, right? Giannis wasn't anybody at the time. And I would get like, because I had so much of it that we're like, baseball breaks, we're giving them Prism basketball packs. And people were like, I bought a baseball. Why'd you send me a basketball pack? And so we literally got rid of all that for like pennies on the dollar.
Oh my God.
And I think what boxes are like $5-6 grand now or something like.
That.
It's just like an insane story because nobody wanted it. Everybody was like, this isn't Topps Chrome.
None of that stuff happened. That big rush on that kind of stuff didn't happen until after people realized what they had. You
Right.
know? And again, it's going to be the same thing that happens when these new products come out.
Fanatics may create a new line and people are going to trash on it, but then 5 years later, it might be a staple brand again.
Exactly. So I mean, to me, I try not to dwell on what has happened in the past. I mean, we were speaking off air earlier about sometimes when you don't get a ton of product, you move what you have and you're on to the next one, right? And that's kind of my mentality with this changing of the guard.
Yeah.
Is what good is it going to do for me to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on old product in the hopes that they spike?
Right.
When really there's a clear path going forward with Fanatics that these guys they're on a war path.
Yeah.
And they're going to do great things for this hobby.
100%.
It's just they're shaking the snow globe a little. You know?
And they're learning. I mean, we're getting autos like the dual autos without autos on them, and stuff like that's happening. And hopefully those things get fixed. But
and people act like there's never going to be a mistake made. They're printing millions of cards across many different SKUs, across multiple printers, and coordinating these things. Like the fact that people expect PSA 10s out of packs every time is mind-boggling to me.
Right.
It's these large-scale companies. You gotta cut them a little bit of slack.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I wish they would show more of. I think there's an old Panini video of the factory, but I want them to. They need to update that and say like, this is how many come out. This is how it's cut. This is how the jersey cards are made. Like, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of steps.
How many times these things are shuffled and this and that and like. Even just the signing process is something we see. They're being signed by 17, 18-year-old kids who, I mean, we see what happens.
Right.
They toss them in a box. And how are any of these 10s?
Right.
Like,
it's that whole on-card versus sticker, right? Well, you don't want sticker, but then you get mad at the on-cards being 8s or something. It's like because they're handling the whole card now.
And it's being processed multiple times before it gets into the package.
Yep,
whereas a sticker
multiple
auto's been
hands.
Printed, cut, sticker package. Whereas, I think it's a lot of... It's a consumer issue, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of things that unless you're doing this for a living, you don't think about that because you don't need to.
You don't need to.
You don't need to. It's not.
You just expect everything to be perfect, because you're used to Amazon delivering on time and getting everything the right way from that kind of stuff. But there's a lot more steps involved in the hobby.
Exactly.
So speaking of products, what's your favorite product to rip?
Draft.
Okay.
Bowman Draft. It's always been that way since day one.
Nice.
It was my favorite to collect, and now it's quickly become my favorite to rip. Starting the first year I started breaking, that was always like the one I wanted to do my multi-case breaks with, and I would do 10-case New Year's Eve breaks, and like I said, I'm just the one guy like that. I don't have multiple breakers, so that's the product where I'll rip 20.
So you remember when they
straight.
had Hobby with the one auto?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember that, and I remember when they did the draft with the first one that they did with the Asia edition. Where it was, they did the one auto small boxes, but yeah, Bowman Draft Jumbo specifically is like, it's just the one I feel like I get the best rhythm with. I feel like it's very predictable where autos are. It's very, and
Super is just a mess with the two packs. I mean, and the one pack's worthless basically, and
I had Super. We did a 20 case break last year.
Jeez.
And I flew out to like Rhode Island for it or something, and it was just a mess. I mean, to rip 20 super jumbo cases was
how many hours?
It took 2 days.
Jeez.
Yeah, I ended up ripping 16 of the 20. And it was just, it's just, there's no, with those bulky packs and the way that they open, there's no rhythm to it.
No.
Jumbo is just a super easy rhythm,
Yeah.
and I can break a super jumbo case or jumbo case in 35 minutes.
Do you open all the packs first?
All the packs, yeah. With draft, I do all the packs. with smaller boxes like Bowman's Best, I'll do 4 boxes at a time.
Yeah.
And I just
Okay.
rip 4 boxes at a time, do that. So then I'm only opening packs twice during a break. You know,
Gotcha. You have a conversation going while you're doing the
yeah,
packs.
exactly. And I think that's the one thing that I've started to get known for is that I don't waste time on breaks. Like I don't do 1 pack at a time things. Like that's just not my style. You know.
Yeah.
And I think we like to get in, get out, and and move on to the next one.
Right. Yeah, exactly. What sport do you think is in the best shape in the hobby right now? Which one has like the brightest future?
Baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball. I mean, I think there's just so much uncertainty with basketball right now between people signing, deals with certain companies and then other companies taking over these licenses and some guys aren't getting rookie autos now and some guys aren't getting, football. We're seeing a lot of quarterbacks only being with Panini or only being with Fanatics and they're not getting the pub that they need. It's really detracted from this year.
You're absolutely right, and I'm sure you have this in your group where it's like somebody buys into, let's say, Phoenix is coming out, like, cool, I'm gonna get a CJ Stroud auto. Like, nope, you're not. And like, it's hard to convey, like, say that every time, like, And yeah, there's value in the Texans, but like, people are like, oh, I'll get a Will Levis, maybe I'll hit a Will Levis auto. Like, no, you won't. Or maybe I'll hit a who's the other guy? Bryce Young. Yeah, it's like, no, you won't. Or so it's like. And then you also, I think we've been getting it a lot too because the uncertainty with Panini, you hit a redemption and people are like, will I ever get this filled? They're going to be gone in 2 years. So it's like the consumer confidence in basketball and football just seems like it's up in the air at the moment.
That and you combine it with their products are, I would say on average, 30 to 50% more expensive per box than baseball products.
Yep.
Your higher end baseball products, your definitives, those are $1,000 a box.
Yeah.
Seems like every football box is $1,000. Absolute just came out at what, $740 on blowout or something. Absolute is not a $750 box.
No.
Like it should be a $350 box.
Yep.
And when you look at allocation price, it really should be a $350 box.
I used to always say that, hey, Panini never planned it to be that, but now they're coming out at retail at that now too. So it's like, well, maybe they are doing it that way.
They embraced it, I think, is what happened. Like I think people blame us a lot for the price of wax, right? They blame breakers. They blame because nobody else is buying the volume that we do, and it lets them charge what they do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if we didn't buy it, then there would be a holdover on product, and guess what? They're going to charge even more for it now for people.
Right. Or products like Flawless Immaculate National Treasures would never even survive.
No.
They wouldn't. Exquisite, I remember talking to Carvin, who made Exquisite, and he was like, when he pitched it at $350 a box, everybody at Upper Deck was like, no way it's going to sell. No way. Because nobody expected price points to be that high. And, now you have an outlet to sell it 30 ways. So you can give everybody a little bit of a piece and then have their fun and get their team. And
Exactly. Well, you can turn a big high-end product like that into a lottery ticket so anybody can play. Or it can be a whale product where not anybody can play, but they can really play.
Right.
And play with a chance of pulling a 6-figure card. Not play with the chance of pulling a $1,500 card. So I think that's the biggest difference there. But yeah, I mean, there's no certainty with what's going to happen with basketball and football in the next 2 years. So I think baseball is the most stable, at least.
I think we can all agree. I think we've just felt like, especially being on Fanatics Live, we've done more baseball lately, a lot more baseball. Yeah. Because it seems like not only is it more available in quantity, and you don't have to go call around and try to find it. It's like, here you go. Here's 50, 40 cases. Yeah. It makes it easier to figure out what you're breaking on that day. And it's most of it's not like too high priced. I mean, you got your definitives. You have your Diamond Icons, which is coming out later this month, Those
are ones that we're not typically doing 50 cases of.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not going to shove, $3 million worth of definitive down my group's throat, but I am going to tell you we're going to fill 4 or 5 of those because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
And move on to the next one.
Right. And that's why Bowman Draft, you can just keep going back to it because there's still a lot of hope. And I'm kind of like just like you. I started the same way when I got back in the hobby. I was all about like Elite Extra Edition. That's all I could afford was packs of Elite Extra Edition going into Stevens Creek and being like, oh, I could buy 5 packs. I'll probably hit an auto. Yeah. You know what I mean? For like $30 or whatever. And then I got in like the Strasburg era as well because I was like, oh man, this guy threw 14 strikeouts. It's crazy. His card's going for this much. I remember I called, I think it was like a comic book shop in Campbell. I think it was Heroes. And I was like, you guys have 2010 Bowman or whatever? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, how much? And they're like, 130. And it was like on the market for like 250. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go get it. And I was like, I can make like that much money difference in a box, like compared to the market. And and so that's what kind of intrigued me is finding that
pretty
stuff.
cool.
Yeah, that's where me and Dan got back in. Was I collected with my dad like 91 Stadium Club.
Yep.
We collected the whole set, but then just kind of got back into it during that era, 2009,
Time out.
2010.
1992 Upper Deck. Do you remember the photography set? It was like IOOSS.
I didn't really collect much Upper Deck back then.
Oh my
only
God.
89, only
Mike
for the
said
Griffey.
the same thing to me the other day. So it reminded me of the Bowman's Best, the Randy Johnson
Yes.
photography this year, because it was like this just special photography. It was the first kind of line that did that before Stadium Club was popular, and I just had this like flashback to like 92.
We're like Nolan Ryan in the tuxedo and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah, I for some reason I think I collected 92 tops. Yeah, it was all tops.
Okay.
I get it under the tree for Christmas and
yeah.
stuff. So it was always. And then my dad was just like, oh, look at these cards, are Kodak, Kodak cards. And so I remember just going into the card shop and like I think we had like 10 Frank Thomases that were worth
so
like
awesome.
$200 at the time, and now they're worth like $10 or something. So but if you could make one big change to the hobby, what would it be?
So selfishly, this change is just my biggest pet peeve in the hobby. It's my biggest pet peeve in general in the hobby. Case hits in hobby products, in retail products.
Yeah.
If I have to break a case of optic football to get one downtown, and I'm spending 10 grand on this case, and my customers are spending 10 grand to chase this downtown, yes, you're going to get colors, you're going to get other things, but that's what we're all chasing there.
Right.
Or you're telling me I could buy a $40 blaster case and get one in there. That pisses me off.
Yeah,
It pisses
exactly.
me off something fierce. Like seeing retail should be the accessible product. It's not your high chase product. That's my biggest change I would make, is that all retail
You
product.
can still put those like autos in there and
Sure,
stuff, but
great. Green autos to 99 and this, but when you have the stuff that you are chasing in a $10,000 case in a $400 blaster case, it boggles my mind why anybody in their right mind is chasing after things in hobby. It's, It's the same. There's the downtowns, the kabooms, like all these ones. Like, why is Contenders sticker autos out of football? Retail. Those are the things.
And you kind of open it up to guys weighing the packs and things like that, right? You see it on the Facebook groups where like, oh, I got 20 blasters or whatever. You're like, okay, did you find out that all those didn't have kabooms in them? It's I'm kind of glad in a sense, like during the COVID era, we were seeing like $20 blasters sell for like $150. I'm glad that's kind of calmed down a little bit.
Me too.
Because it was just like bots getting them from the websites, showing up at Target fights and all this other stuff. And people thought that they could do a little side hustle. And I'm not going to knock a side hustle, but it's just like, at the end of the day, somebody that's buying it for $150 is getting effed,
Murdered.
Murdered.
Like I love to laugh at the they call them the wall retail breaks. What I mean? Like it's a wall of blasters, and you're charging $3,000 for these 20 blasters or whatever. But if you think about it, the most expensive card you could ever possibly pull in that is not even worth half of what that break is selling for. Like, what is the point?
Or the guy that goes to Target and somehow gets like $1,500 and rips it all, and like, dude, you could have just got a hobby box or a couple hobby boxes for that price. I'm not gonna tell people how to spend their money, but it's like
it's why
look at the odds, man.
I do think retail should just be like we said at the beginning of the show, is just that readily available, mass-produced stuff that should be for just beginning collectors and children and stuff that there's plenty of levels in this hobby. We're convoluting them at that point, and that, like I said, it just rubs me the wrong way that somebody can do that.
For sure. Well, we appreciate you stopping by, man. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show. Let everybody know where we can find you and find your breaks.
Right, SCM Breaks. We're on Fanatics Live and in the Facebook group.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks
Right
again,
on.
Eddie.
Appreciate you.
Yep. All right, guys, that is it for this episode of The Hype. Make sure you guys go to Mojobreak.com, get in on some Phoenix breaks. We're going to be pre-selling some Prism basketball here very soon, as well as Diamond Icons is around the corner. So check that out. We're also breaking live on Fanatics Live. If you want to use code, if you've never bought into a break on Fanatics Live, you can use code MojoBreaks20, and that'll save you $20 off on your first order on Fanatics Live. And head on over to MojobreakShop.com. Check out the latest wax. Also sell gaming. So if you want to get Pokemon for little Billy, or yourself, then head on over there and grab those now, as well as all your sports wax. And we'll see you guys next week on The Hype.